It's At the Lake with Marion, where I will be sharing my journey to living my best life now with you. Come along and let's see what we can discover together. All right, so I have laid down 3 beds, and I'm going to now do the last bed here so that you could basically see how I do it. All right. I told you all about the pickaxe. First of all, I made my pathway, right? I know this is going to be my walkway. And this part of the soil is a little harder than the other 2 areas. But I'm going to bring the bed right about here, right? This is great exercise, guys. Really good exercise. All right? Now you come up. Right? Whoever said farming was easy? Now I have roots and other things in here that eventually I'm going to come and, get rid of. Okay? It's just a part of the process. As I said, maybe I can get 2 beds. So I'll take it out a little bit more then. I'll just leave this as one wider bed. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use this one like for tomatoes maybe, you know. All right, so now that I've done that part, right? As a matter of fact, I'm gonna leave this one flat because either which way it's dangerous with any of the sides up. So now I'm gonna shape my bed, right? This is a lot of work, but it's well worth it. Well worth it. Yeah, this is gonna be my large bed.
I'll figure out what I will put in it later. But I guess my intent now is that it could be like tomatoes, where I could probably get 3 rows of tomatoes, you know. I think I want to try some beefsteak tomatoes because I love tomatoes, and it's one of the best ways to sneak in a vegetable on a sandwich. It goes well in a sandwich, you know, instead of breaking it down when you cook it. So there are some people who can't do tomatoes because of the seeds. The seeds can aggravate some people who have the, what they call it, diverticulosis or something like that, right? It can affect that a lot because they can't do seeds. And then the skin of the tomato can also help to lead to leaky gut because of the pectin, right? So, but it's an interesting, and they call it a vegetable, but it's really a fruit, right? Because it has seeds. But it's one of those fruits that are not sweet in the sugar content. So you don't necessarily think of it like a fruit like grapes or apples. This is my callaloo seeds, right? Good callaloo seeds. So, oh yeah, this is looking good. This is looking good, although it's a little not so straight, but we'll straighten that up, right? For the time being though, at least you have the beds that are formed. And what I actually plan to do, it will be an actual bed, right? It will be an actual bed that is contained, and the dirt won't run off to the sides or anything, right? You see that? Isn't that beautiful? Let me look and see if it's a straight bed or which side is bigger. It looks just about even. It's just the soil. I would need to do it round. So see, I told you I was gonna get 4 beds. And this is the widest one, which I know this one is going to be tomato. I don't know if I'm going to try and do lettuce, broccoli, cauliflower. I know I won't be doing beans so much, and if I'm doing beans, I'm going to be planting it against the fence so that it will have somewhere to run to, and I don't have to build any structure for it to be able to run. I had this one nicely done out like that because I actually want it, because I'm gonna be either using some 10 by 2 by 4s, or would it be maybe I just use bricks and brick it in. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use bricks, guys, you know, to just kind of brick it in so that the beds are distinguished, that they are, you know, individual beds. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So I did. All right, I'm gonna get help with removing this one, but this is from the pine. See that? See that? That's a big root. It doesn't affect the pine tree at all. Okay? But this is some of the work that's going to go into it now that the beds are formed. So I'm going to brick them out, and then I'm going to go through, remove roots and debris, rocks, and probably set it up so that it will be a trench-like atmosphere around it. And this is just things that I remember from growing up. Now, I was, of course, born in Jamaica, but my father, I would say he is the consummate farmer, never professional farmer. But I do not recall ever in my life at no home where my father did not have a garden. And his gardens were usually filled with vegetables galore. My mom, she kept the flower gardens. She was particular about African violets. She loved the African violet plants and the crotons. She even entered her African violets into what was then in Jamaica. They used to have horticultural competitions. And I suspect that they still do. But back then, she would enter her best plant and the yard. So you would have a committee that would literally come out to the yard and look. So while my mother, she did the flowers, my father, he did the garden. I grew up, and in my yard we had coconut trees, pomegranate trees, custard apple, we had plums, and all kinds of fruits and all kinds of vegetables. He would plant corn, lettuce, cauliflower, peas, beans, okra. I mean, and here's what he did. He trained us to eat those things raw from the garden. Pick it, wash it right there, and eat. He also planted tomatoes, peanuts, right? And
See you soon at the lake with Marian. Thanks for tuning in with me.